I remember the day everything changed. It was a bright Saturday morning, the sun shining through the windows, casting a warm glow across the living room. I was sitting at the kitchen table, scrolling through my phone, when I saw the message from my boyfriend. He said he was coming over later to hang out, and I smiled, feeling excited to see him. But little did I know, my life was about to fall apart in the worst possible way. It started when I heard voices coming from the guest room. At first, I thought nothing of it. My sister, Emily, was home from college for the weekend, and she often came to visit. But as I walked past the room to grab some water, I stopped dead in my tracks. There they were, my boyfriend, Matt, and my sister, tangled up on the bed. The sight of them together made my stomach churn. For a second, I just froze. I couldn't comprehend what I was seeing. Matt's eyes met mine, and in that moment, all the words that should have been said, the apologies, the explanations, the remorse, remained unspoken. He looked guilty, but it wasn't enough to erase the betrayal. Emily, on the other hand, just stared at me, her expression unreadable, as if nothing was wrong. I felt my heart drop into my stomach. How could she? How could my own sister do this to me? Before I could say anything, she stood up, throwing on a robe. You don't understand, she said, her voice cold and defensive. It's not what you think. I didn't know what to say. Anger bubbled up, but I was too shocked to voice it. I turned to Matt, hoping for some explanation, but all I saw was a person who was too cowardly to even look me in the eye. Why? I managed to choke out, my voice barely a whisper. He didn't answer. It was like everything we had, our relationship, the trust, the memories, had evaporated in an instant. The betrayal was too overwhelming. In the next few hours, things only got worse. I confronted Emily, desperate for some kind of truth, but her response caught me off guard. She didn't apologize. She didn't feel guilty. Instead, she blamed me. You were never good enough for him, she sneered. You were too busy with your own life, always distracted. Maybe if you had paid more attention, he wouldn't have needed to find comfort elsewhere. The words stung. I was shaking, barely holding it together as I struggled to process her betrayal, her accusations. But the worst part wasn't what Emily said. It was how my parents reacted. When I finally found the courage to tell them the truth, they didn't believe me. They said I was overreacting, that I was just making a mountain out of a molehill. She's your sister. She would never do something like that, my mother said, her voice dismissive. You must have misunderstood, my father added, shaking his head. Maybe you've pushed her too hard. It was like being gaslighted by the people I trusted the most. I was left alone, drowning in a sea of confusion and hurt, while Emily, who should have been the one apologizing, was painted as the victim. My parents chose her side, telling me that I needed to forgive her because family is everything. Matt tried to reach out a few times, but I ignored his calls. I couldn't even look at him. The man I had trusted, loved, had turned into someone I no longer recognized. And my sister, my own flesh and blood, had betrayed me in the most unimaginable way. It took me a long time to process the aftermath of everything that happened. I distanced myself from my family, from my sister, from the people who should have supported me. I realized that I had to take care of myself, even if that meant walking away from the people I had once called my loved ones. I didn't forgive Emily, and I didn't forgive Matt. I had to learn to let go of the